The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, season 20, episode number 82. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at lg.com/OLED Evo. Today we talk about the Cowboys loss 27-20 to the Cincinnati Bengals, a game that was pretty entertaining, had some interesting moments in it, had a lot of things that I think were positive for the Cowboys and some not so positive things as well. We'll talk about all of it this morning on the show. We'll start where we start every week following a game, every Monday following a game, today obviously being Tuesday though, with what we think was the story of this game. Tommy, you're joining us today again. Give us what would you say is the story of this game?
Well, the story is you're in a position to win the game, and a costly special teams error ends up losing you this game. Amani Oruwariye goes after a punt that's a poison situation, which means you just let the ball go. You don't touch it, because once the ball crosses the line of scrimmage, if you make contact with it and the other team recovers, it's essentially, it's like they're recovering a fumble. So that's really just a gut punch in terms of a way to lose, because if the Cowboys just let that ball get down there, they're already either in or nearing Brandon Aubrey's field goal range with, I think it was less than 2 minutes to play in that ball game. So
right at 2 minutes, yeah.
You've got an opportunity with the way that Rico Dowdle was running, averaging 7.2 yards a carry, to go down the field, run the clock out, kick a game-winning field goal, and you keep your playoff hopes alive. But they still technically, mathematically are alive, but just a really tough way.
I think 1.2% chance of making the playoffs.
They're alive mathematically, but the math isn't great.
What was the percentage?
I think I read this morning. It's 1.2% chance
1.2.
of making the playoffs. Yeah. So
yeah, that to me was the story, that play, because it just changed so much, and it changed the whole outlook of the game. And then of course, Cincinnati, with an offense like that, you give Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase an opportunity down the stretch, they're going to make you pay. And Jamar Chase did a 40-yard touchdown to ice it.
Yep. Right.
Man, this game was filled with a lot of empty offensive possessions for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if this defense could play any better against that cat, And I say that cat with admiration because he's one of my cats.
Yeah.
Him and that cat catching the ball, both are my cats.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. And we knew this. We knew this going in. Mm-hmm. We knew going in that it was going to be very difficult to defend, even with the secondary being back. Good that Diggs was playing, but that's a handful. That dude is a handful. This offensive line, they had problems blocking up front at times. I felt like, though, that the empty possessions offensively, when you were able to get stops, and I want to talk about one specific time you had the football in the fourth quarter with 5:31 to go. Mm-hmm. You get that ball and you're thinking, I am not giving this ball back.
Nope.
I'm not. And what does he do? He hands the ball to Dowdle for 14. Now you're thinking, all right, we got him on their heels.
Pound them.
I'm not going to give the ball back to Joe Burrow. From that point on, rush incomplete to Ferguson, rush incomplete to Cooks, rush incomplete to Turpin. Anger, 48-yard punt. That right there is when I said, you just did coaching malpractice as a play caller. You knew what was on the other side of that field over there, and you had a chance to just take their will, and you didn't do it. And your field goal kicker can make him in the middle of that star if he has to. Mm-hmm. But you got to get time off that clock and run that thing down to where they use all their timeouts and you kick that thing and go home. Coaching malpractice last night offensively.
Yep. AG.
What was your question?
Story
No,
of
I'm
the
just
game.
kidding. My story is like, who the heck has a curse on this team? Like, what the like? If we can. My biggest thing is DeMarvin Overshown and the injury that occurred and the significance. I know we're going to find out more information about it later on, but it's just so devastating to see an injury like that happen to someone like him after we've seen what he's been capable of overcoming and everything he was being able to accomplish this season. So very, very sad getting so close to the end of the season. But one of those things, like, you see a few good things, but then it can never be really good. You talk about the offense.
Mm-hmm.
They started off for the first time in like all season long with them actually scoring in their first
They got a
series.
3 and out in the first drive touchdown.
So that was impressive. You're like, okay, this is how you needed to start a
Right.
game like this. And they're keeping up, but it's never really enough. You see a guy like CeeDee Lamb have some really good plays, and then all of a sudden, you're not targeting him anymore. You see him in certain plays open. You can't get the ball to him. And when you have a guy that's getting having a hot day, you want to take advantage of that. Same with Rico Dowdle. I thought he had a great game, had some really good runs. All of a sudden, he kind of disappears for a while there, and then they come back in the second half, beginning of the second half, use him again. He got to had a really positive run. But then those plays that you just talked about, Brian, you're just scratching your head. And I've been scratching my head all season long with some of the play calling and certain situations. I just feel like this is a game that you definitely could have won. Despite Joe Burrow being Joe Burrow, you had all the tools you needed to manage that game and walk out with the win. And taking into consideration that special teams play, like even taking that out, you still had chances to get in a better position, and you just couldn't come out of that alive in that game. But saw a lot of different positive things, and then some really bad things as well.
Yeah, it's to be honest with you, and I know this is probably not going to be what most people would believe, but I believe it. When you look at that last series, Brian, the series where they have 5:31 left in the game, in my opinion, that was every bit as damning for the Cowboys as Oruwarie's play. Yeah. Because I look at that play. Yeah. I look at that play and I say, okay, yeah, he made a bonehead decision. But the reality is, you had the ball with 5:31 left in the game. Your first play, you go for 14 on the ground. Yeah. And by the way, all day, every time you run the ball, you're getting good yards. That was the best rushing game for the Cowboys, bar none, this season. That defense could not stop their rushing attack. And what you did over the next 3 plays was pass, 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 and incompletions. And then you're in that situation. That, to me, especially, this is the part that really just rubs me some kind of way, especially after we heard the coach talk year or two ago about the fact that we're going to run the ball. He was very emphatic. Yeah. That was something that, with him calling the plays, he wanted to run the ball. That was going to be an emphasis for him. You were now in the position where everything lined up to run the ball. Yeah. And you fell in love with your pass game when your pass game ain't worth falling in love with.
With a backup quarterback even.
Right.
Too.
That baffled me. And I think just as much as everybody wants to talk about Oruwariye today, I think the conversation has to go on Mike McCarthy and those decisions.
I agree.
To decide to throw the ball in those situations.
I felt
situation.
Yeah, I like that you brought that up. I mean, I like everybody's with their thoughts here and stuff like that. I mean, I said the word empty possessions. Look at the possessions, the last 2 possessions right before half. Mm-hmm. You know, you get opportunity. I mean, it is like you get stops. You actually stop the Bengals, or you make them kick a field goal. And you go out there and you just go 3 and out, -1, -5. You know, you're just these series, and you're just kind of going, how? I mean, in this defense, everybody has been moving the ball on the Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody they play, the ball gets moved on them, and you couldn't figure out how to. And that's what bothers me the most is, and Derek, you're right. This coach stands up there and preaches, "Oh, we're about running the football." Well, it took you until December to figure out to hand Rico Dowdle the ball 70% of the time. It took you that long. Now I don't know if somebody in the front office is saying, "Got to give it to Zeke." I don't work in this building anymore, But maybe Mike was forced to play Zeke and they were trying to find that balance. I don't know that. But it took you this long to figure out about how to use him and the toughness that he shows. And then you don't go to him. You go to him one time and he gives you that yardage you're talking. He gave it to you the whole game.
Yeah.
This should have been a flirting with DeMarco Murray team record for rushing. Is what this game should have been. That's what
26, 27 carries, right at 200 yards.
We told you the metrics in this thing is when Cincinnati faces 30 rushing attempts against them, they lose. One time they've won. They beat the Giants. Every other time they've lost the game. And you get I can't tip my cap enough to what defense did yesterday.
Yeah.
Chase, it's hard. That's a hard thing to deal with. But you know what? That team did not light you up on the scoreboard like we all thought they might. Or they've lit everybody else up.
Yeah.
So that's
Also,
that's the unfortunate thing about.
What's confusing to me, too, is like, what about the analytics that you have talked about so much? Shouldn't the analytics tell you what's working and what's not? And this is something that he has put a lot of emphasis in the past that he values a lot and looks into a lot. So it's just very confusing when you don't see things go the way you think it should go.
Yeah. I think to me where I want to give him some credit for something, the 4th and 2 call, we were talking about it on our pregame show. It was like, listen, and I asked Brad Sham this question, do you almost have to think differently when you're playing against Joe Burrow and Chase? Do you almost thinking they're going to put up a ton of points? And so the fact that he went for it on 4th and 2 and threw a corner route and it worked, I'm like, gutsy.
Yeah.
Gutsy call right there. He could have very easily tried it out. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to play this game a different way today.
Yep.
But he loses his way along the path. For a veteran coach, and I always complain about this. Know the condition of your team. Know where they're at. Know where they're at physically. Know where they're at emotionally. Know where they're at. Maybe if you're walking around as a head coach, you kind of sense that as a play caller. Maybe you lose track of where. Maybe if we're talking about if Fossil's clicking over and saying, "Hey, we're going to try and block this punt," click over. No, you're not. Set the return up. And then maybe you don't get the situation that you have. There's things that happen along in the game that maybe you need to be more on top of. As far as the play calling and being the coach and managing the game and all that, some of these guys are very good at it. Some of them aren't. I don't know. I think last night, you lost your game last night because your guy lost his way.
Two things that got me in this game. Number one, if that punt disaster doesn't happen, the Cowboys likely hold the Bengals to 20 points. That'd be their 4th lowest output of the season.
Yep.
Second thing is, after the game, Mike McCarthy said that he wished he would have gotten Rico more carries. That is not the first time this season that he has said that in retrospect after a loss. I just can't understand if that's your sentiment.
Yeah.
And you see him running for 7.3 yards a carry. His career high. He's got a career high in rushing today. I can't see why. You mentioned the long runs. It seemed like after every run that he broke out, he was off the next play.
Yeah.
You bring in Zeke or you throw the 3 straight passes. I understand if you need a breather, but at the same time, this offensive line the last 2 weeks has gotten their best run push that they've gotten all season. And the
3
game plan
backup
coming
dudes
in,
playing.
exactly. And what we discussed last week was Dallas's avenue for winning this game was playing keep away by running the ball and draining the clock. They did that until the 4th quarter, and you just wonder why.
And they did it successfully. And
exactly.
Not only that, but you go back and look at what Brian mentioned, those 2 possessions before the half, same things. I think it was 6 plays, and on 5 of the 6, they're throwing the ball. It's like, what? It is so baffling that they didn't stick with what was working. It's almost like they find something that they really like that's working, and then they're like, "Oh, we'll just hold that for a minute. We'll come back to that when we want to come back to it," rather than saying, "Well, we're gonna keep hitting you with this until you stop it, until you figure it out. We're gonna keep making you figure it out." And they stop themselves from doing it. You know.
Yeah.
We're going to take our first break. We're going to come back, and we'll dive a little deeper. I do want to talk some about the offense. We'll talk about Cooper Rush and certainly talk about Rico Dowdle and his day. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay in your car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said that LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. The segment brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, let's talk about Cooper Rush. He was 16 of 31, 52% completion rate, 183 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 77.8 quarterback rating. How did you assess his play overall?
You first or me?
Go ahead. Guest is always welcome here.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I think you just got to remember that he's a backup quarterback.
Okay.
That's never good when you qualify.
Right. I was going to say, that's not a great start, but go ahead, keep going.
I mean, there were some throws there. I mean, like Brian mentioned in the last segment, the 4th and 2 throw to CD was a good one.
Beautiful.
The touchdown to Cooks was a good one. But there are just some plays where, he either rushes himself out of a clean pocket or his accuracy is just off, or you watch his decision of where to throw the ball and you're thinking, what's the thought process there? Mm-hmm. The interception, I don't know how much I put that on him. It looked like there was contact on CD on that crossing route, and I don't know the ruling on that, and if they
tried to pick.
Yeah.
They're going to throw the wheel. I don't know why Cooper. Anyway, they're going to get a penalty on the play because Schoonmaker was lined up wrong. They were all covering each other over on that right side. Mm-hmm. So anyway, they're going to try and run the wheel. So they're going to run CD inside, and they're going to wheel Ferguson. And I don't know why the ball didn't go over the top.
To Ferguson. Because
CD doesn't look like he's even ready. No. He looks like he's trying to run the route and not interfere, or get called for a pick. Mm-hmm. And they're going to run. And I'm thinking, well, that's set up to run the wheel.
Yeah.
But he throws the ball inside.
Yep.
See, this is the thing that I have with Cooper Rush. The ball doesn't go down the field with him.
No.
They max protect. How many times have we seen when Cooks lines up on the right and he runs that arrow straight across the field, and he just goes through all that trash and all that, and he's and then he's down there and they just launch him the ball and he's open on the other side of the field. We've seen Dak kind of slightly roll to his right and launch that thing going left. They have 8 blockers. They set it up. And Rush doesn't even give it a look. Now, he throws the ball underneath to Dowdle for 10 yards. Mm-hmm. But they call a play where they go 8-man protection to launch that thing. Now, Udoka is having a little problem. I mean, he's on the backside, but still, Rush he never even gave the play a chance. Yep. And you watch the safeties' hips are turned inside as Cooks is running across. He's got no chance. If you throw that ball out there, it's a touchdown. But no, he throws a check down. The interception spooked him. He was playing pretty well up until the interception. Yeah. Then all of a sudden it was kind of like you're getting sacked, you're getting pressured, you're not accurate. You're right. He's a backup quarterback, but he's a veteran backup quarterback.
Yeah. He's not a bad backup quarterback either. I wouldn't say.
But that's the thing about him is his unwillingness to make a play down the field kills this offense.
Yeah.
They don't get any explosives because of explosives come from throwing a screen to CD, and he's all of a sudden like he's got his Oklahoma uniform on, and he's woo, 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 and he's going, and CD, I hear Gus Johnson, CD, touchdown, Oklahoma.
That's PTSD.
Yeah,
yeah, no doubt.
But see, that's kind of where that's how they play. Yeah. They will not make an explosive. Unless, with this guy playing quarterback, unless it's a catch and run afterwards.
And when they do try to make an explosive play, the one play that stuck out to me when he does try to push the ball downfield, it's to Kevontae Turpin down the sideline, one-on-one.
With no separation.
The smallest player on the field. Yeah. I have no issue with Kevontae Turpin getting the ball, but is he your downfield 50-50 ball receiver on the hashes?
I don't even
on the
know.
Outside? No.
Tommy, I don't even know if you could trust Tolbert to play. Yeah, Tolbert had a couple.
It seems like it's gotten like he's regressed a little bit.
It's like really he's so fearful of they run that waggle and he comes across and it's like Rush kind of threw it in a spot and needs to be caught. Not leaving our feet and diving and kind of making it look like, okay, I know I'm maybe going to get whacked here, and go get that football.
Yep.
Your quarterback needs that play. You get 2 targets and no catches?
Yep.
You can't. Nah.
Yep.
No.
See, from our point of view, everything looks easy, right? Yeah. I would assume it's a lot harder for them who are on the field.
Well, against that defense, it usually is.
Yeah. But
most teams make it look easy. Yeah.
Where I have the problem is like, okay, yes, he's a backup quarterback, and there's a reason for that. But at the same time, you're in the NFL. You're like there are certain plays that you're like, man, you should be able to make that. There's no justification to why you shouldn't, especially when you see things opening up for you. And also, this is not your first game playing. Like even this season, you already if this was the game after Dak got hurt, I could be more understanding. But it's been a couple of weeks now where you would expect him to have a better connection or a better view of the field and see where guys are opening themselves up and look around the field, and like that's what a quarterback is supposed to have: awareness, field awareness. And I feel bad even for Mingo. This is just week after week where he positions himself in the right spot And then Cooper Rush just
can't get him the ball.
Can't get it.
Oh, he hasn't had a good pass. I don't think since he's been here. I don't think he's had a catchable pass.
I think the last one was at Mississippi when he was in college.
Maybe.
Poor guy.
He's like, I don't like the NFL. Can I go back to college? They make more money there anyway. You know.
But it's just unfortunate. It's just more frustrating when you had so many different chances. And because of maybe the mental aspect of things after that interception potentially throws you off. But even you talk about the offensive line, despite all the struggles, I think they give you a chance. They've given you a chance in creating some decent protection for you. And even then, you just can't take advantage of it.
I tell you, there was a time where I don't know, and I don't know much. But remember the blitz, the safety blitz that they ran that got home, and Rush just threw it out there, and it was between Tolbert and Lamb. It really went to nowhere. They ran a safety blitz, and it looked like to me that Smith, because Hunter Lipke is blocking to his right, and they've got nobody to account for the blitzer.
Yep.
But it's like CD and Cooks both see the blitzer, but there was no side adjust.
Yeah.
And like Rush just threw it out there and hoping that, it was lucky he wasn't picked off. I mean, Tolbert was wide enough.
Was that the one where he spun out and then?
No. It was
out.
just a straight blitz up the gut. It was Stone came just up the middle.
Okay.
And Smith
Was that? Oh, and then he just kind of jumped.
it just
chucked it out
jumped,
there.
it
Yeah, I
jumped
got
it
you.
and
I
chucked
remember
it
that.
out there to the left. And so you're sitting there thinking like, Lamb and Cooks are looking inside and they see the blitzer. And usually when you see blitzer, you'll adjust the route. And maybe it was to run the out and all. See, this is where I don't understand. Did CD and them not see the blitz? What was Smith thinking?
Yeah. Was there not a side adjustment available?
Hunter Lipke was blocking his guy, so they had nobody to account for that guy. They could have accounted that guy with Smith just sliding over and picking him up and just staying, and then then you get the throw out.
Yep.
But see, that's the kind of stuff that sometimes defenses win, and but that makes me feel like though. Was there adjustment? Was there a play? We've seen it from Dak before. When teams have blitzed, Dak has made them pay for that blitzing.
Yep.
It just doesn't seem like Dallas was able to do that.
And to that point, one of the things that I saw multiple times yesterday, and a couple plays that really stood out to me, but I think when they put Rush into a situation where he has to move, when he's on the move, his accuracy, his vision, I think just isn't as good. Yesterday, there was one play where he's rolling out to his left, I think it was. He had Ferguson and he had Schoonmaker.
Yeah.
Schoonmaker was a little deeper. Both of them were open.
Yeah.
He opted to throw the more shallow route to Ferguson and completely missed him, threw it wide to him.
Yeah.
And it was just, he was on the move. He just, that should have been a play he should easily be able to make. Similar thing happened on the blitz I was talking about earlier, where he actually spins out of the guy that was coming in, the defender. He gets out, gets away, and then just kind of throws the ball.
Yeah.
And it's like, what were you seeing at that point? I almost think like when he spun, I think he lost his orientation and didn't really know where he was throwing, because where he threw it was like there's really not anybody there that's in a position to catch the ball. So I don't know. I just think when he gets in those situations, sometimes he may rush himself a little bit too much. His vision, his accuracy, I think, suffer. And in today's NFL, especially with this offensive line that, as far as a pass blocking unit, hasn't been great and have some moments, if you can't move and still be able to maintain your vision and your accuracy, you're going to have a problem. And I think that's part of what's going on right now with him.
Yeah, you just got to set your feet. If you're in a position to, you just set your feet.
Yep.
This is not a guy like Dak, who can, throw in the air and across his body and all those cool things. Cooper Rush just... That's not him.
That's not his game.
He can't make those plays.
Yep. All right, we're going to take our final break. We will come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the offensive line and Rico Dowdle. We'll see if we get to the defense. If we can't get there, we'll talk about them a little more tomorrow. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a Pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. It is the final segment of the break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Let's talk about the offensive line play. Yesterday, Tyler Guyton didn't play. That was a healthy
scratch. Surprising there.
He was active but did not play. Cooper Beebe got hurt.
Was it a surprise? I was thinking it was a surprise because I felt like that they were going to, just keep giving him reps. But I understand that maybe they feel Adoga, and Adoga wasn't terrible in your game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was actually where I was going to go.
Yeah.
As you assessed his play, how well did Adoga do?
Yeah, I think to me that Hendrickson's no fun.
Yep.
And
he had one sack at the end, close in the game.
He's difficult to deal with. I think the best thing about it was for the Cowboys that they knew where he was going to be the whole game, which was kind of cool. But Adoga was, fine. Adoga run blocking. There was a couple of times. I'll tell you what, Terrence Steele was playing a lot better. And I think I keep saying this, but having a healthy guy next to him with the double team stuff and their ability. But they ran a couple of outside plays. The Wildcat with Turpin when they snapped in the ball. Mm-hmm. Boy, they really secured the edge really well, and a lot of it was
the one that Mingo made the block on that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. They had all their linemen were the ones that really got it done because actually Dowdle got a block, and then you had Schoonmaker and then Steele to that side that they got everything kind of pinned down in there. But Steele had done that a couple of different times when they ran the ball that he was able to capture the edge. Or combo block, and they did a really good job of allowing Dowdle to at least find some space. It wasn't like when he wasn't getting touched until he was through the line of scrimmage. So that was positive from that side of it.
So that was, I believe, the 10th different offensive line that Dallas has had this season. Yeah.
Would it be 10th and 11th once they lost their center as well? Or was it just 10th just for the start of a game?
It was 10th for the center. Okay. Because Adoga came in at left tackle last game and Hoffman was at right guard. So that would give you 9. 9 was tied for 7th. I'm not sure where 10 would rank in the NFL.
Yeah.
But as far as Chuma Edoga goes, to hold off Trey Hendrickson until that one sack in the fourth quarter, I think is a positive.
Yeah.
He wasn't perfect. I mean, Trey Hendrickson had 7 sacks on 31 of his pass rushes, and 4 of them came in
Against
under
the
2.5 seconds.
Yeah, the Raiders got it. I mean, he killed the Raiders one day.
Yeah. So, it's not a complete victory, but you took him out of the game until the end, and you take that. I think what has impressed me the most of this offensive line is that they are run blocking so much better. Because you looked at them earlier in the season, and it was kind of a given that just Dallas isn't going to run the ball today. Like Rico Dowdle is going to get maybe 50 yards on 15 carries, and Dak's going to have to throw for 400 yards, or Cooper Rush is going to have to throw for 300 yards if they want a chance to win this game. So, for Brock Hoffman to step in at center and play the way he did after being at right guard, TJ Bass did a good job, I felt, at right guard. And that's probably the 5 you're going to look at in Carolina, because Cooper Beebe suffered a concussion.
Right.
Short week. It was a short week. It was interesting because he was taken out of the game for a head injury in the second quarter, got looked at in the blue tent, came back, played, and then was taken out again and didn't return in the second half. I asked Mike McCarthy after that, and he said, they looked at it again, and they were just like, it's probably better for him to just call it off. So he will I don't know for sure, but he probably won't play against Carolina. I would assume, because of concussion protocol.
Yeah, the metrics say that Chuma Doga had 35 pass block snaps, 6 quarterback pressures, 2 sacks. He was one-on-one 77% of the time.
Okay, so they didn't give him a ton of help.
No, they did not. And they usually don't give their tackles help because Terrence Steele was 74%. They're usually if they're helping each other inside is what they're doing. Yeah. So, but they gave Tyler Smith 2 sacks in this game, 4 pressures, 2 sacks, and then Brock Hoffman had a sack, is according to the Next Gen folk.
Yeah, is it just a coincidence that the running game has gotten so much better with these backups in? Or is it more just a function of they finally committed more to the run than they have in the past?
Got the right guy running the ball, I think helps. I keep saying this, the right guard's healthy. Zach was playing bad back, bad shoulder, bad everything, and so, for him to battle the way he did was admirable. But they're healthier at the position now, and they can get more power at the point of attack. I think they're running the ball too is because they're actually getting tight end play. Ferguson had a couple of blocks that were pretty good. Schoonmaker's getting better at that, and then Span Ford has been better. So point of attack blocking for the tight ends, healthier right guard, and commitment to one back that can actually get it done.
Yeah, I think that's what's helping is just the combination of both and committing to Dowdle, and you don't see those splits really happening where you're kind of forcing it on Zeke and trying to get him the ball and keep running kind of into a brick wall and not getting much gain. So I think it's just the timing of it with what's happening with the offensive line. Like Brian said, and Schoonmaker, he's had some really good blocks that I'm like, okay, now we're talking. Now we got something to work with here. So that's credit to the tight ends and just something more positive as far as the blocking in general, but also committing to Dow.
Yeah. Let's flip over the defense. We got a few more minutes here. I thought overall the defense had a pretty good performance. Obviously, Jamar Chase had a day, and that's the thing when you play those kind of players. Sometimes they are going to do this. He had 14 catches for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joe Burrow completed 75% of his passes for 369 yards and 3 touchdowns with 1 interception. That being said, I think the one piece that I didn't personally account for that I think really hurt the Cowboys was Chase Brown. And not necessarily Chase Brown as a runner, but Chase Brown as a receiver. Yesterday,
6 for 65.
Yeah, he only had 14 rushes for 58 yards, 4.1 average, but he had 6 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown. Why do you think Dallas struggled so much with defending him, particularly in the passing game?
That's a good question. Because, you know what, I did not factor him in going in.
We didn't talk a lot about him.
No, we did not, because they really, I got reminded by fantasy football people that he can actually make plays.
Oh, he's got big numbers. I played against him. He puts up big numbers in
so
fantasy.
It's with him, I was like, well, okay, the tape shows he kind of, they don't really try and run the ball all that much, and they did it enough. And he had some good downhill runs. I didn't expect him to, I hadn't seen that where he was kind of leaking out of the backfield. They tried to get him a couple of screens and stuff like that, but they split him out. If you remember, they had a third down conversion where they put him wide and they picked for him and he ran a slant. And then Overshown couldn't get into coverage fast enough. So
he went downfield one time too, and they had him out wide.
They had him. Well, it's the very next play.
Yeah.
They get a first. They get a first with the slant behind the pick, and then they run him on a vertical route to the corner of the end zone, and they try and throw him the ball.
Yep. Wasn't that Bland defending him?
Bland on the defense. Yeah. So, yeah, he was. I did not see that one coming for him making those receptions in this game or using them the way they did.
I think when so much attention goes to Chase, and then if your attention's not on Chase, it's on T. Higgins. And if it's not on T. Higgins, it's on Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be open.
Yeah.
And Chase Brown was just that. I think the Cowboys did a good job taking T. Higgins out of the game. 2 catches for 23 yards.
Yeah.
That's
5 targets.
On 5 targets. Yeah. That's not his best, and that's a win. But, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, that combination is one of those that rarely are you going to see anybody completely take them out of the game. It is just you can only hope you can limit them as much as possible. Because there were some plays where, Dallas has it all played well. Trayvon Diggs sees where the ball is going. But Burrow and Chase just have that camaraderie and that time spent together where they're on the same page. We talked about nonverbal communication between those two last week, playing in college and at the NFL at a high level together, where they can just make those kinds of plays. There's nothing you can do about it. So, when Chase Brown is able to do stuff like that, it doesn't shock me just because that attention is so widespread. But that doesn't mean that there isn't something you could have done to stop that when he gets going.
I was just looking at Jamar Chase by nearest defender. I was just curious about that.
Boy.
Yeah, like Diggs gave up 5 receptions. Bland gave up 3 receptions. Lewis gave up 2 receptions. All right. That was on 12 targets. He had 10 catches against your corners on 12 targets, on your starting corners.
Yep.
It wasn't like he was like, oh, let's go pick on Diggs. Oh, let's go pick on Bland. It didn't matter.
He was all over the field, yeah.
And then throw Kendricks in there for 1 for 24. Throw Hooker in there for 1 for 14. Throw Overshown in there for 1 for 6. That's kind of where this thing went for you. It didn't matter who you put on him. He was going to find a way to make a play.
And here's the even more impressive part for me. Coming into this game, Joe Burrow was, I think, the best quarterback in the league on in-breaking routes.
Yeah.
And we had the Cowboys had
him
seen
and that guy Detroit, I think, are the two.
It's him and
you have golf.
C.J. Stroud too with Nico Collins.
Exactly. There you go. You got that right too.
Jamar Chase had 9 catches on out-breaking routes.
It was the most
for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's the most receiving yards on out-breaking routes in the last 7 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's
7 years.
What could? Is there a reason for that? Like, do you think that this was a situation where just from a defensive standpoint, Dallas was maybe clogging up the middle and needing to do that, and so it created these open spots for him?
So they said, that's fine, we'll just go the other way. And Jamar Chase can get open. He can make some guys miss on the sideline. He can tiptoe down there. He's good enough of a player.
And Burrow's got the arm to make those outbreaking throws, right?
Here's the metric on it you asked. Dallas played man coverage 24 times. He had 7 receptions for 103. Zone, they played 21 routes. He had 7 catches for 74 yards, a touchdown and an interception. So it was pretty balanced man in zone.
Yep.
It's just that he found a way to play on the outside. That is what, they felt like that maybe, okay, when Dallas is going to play zone, we'll run the outs. When Dallas plays man, we'll take it inside, is what we'll do.
See, even though, despite all of that, I thought the defense did a pretty nice job in keeping you in the game and pacing it. It kept you right on hand with what your offense was doing, and I would say more the pacing of it. It didn't all come at once. It just got spread out, and they did enough to manage. I mean, some of those plays that were given up were disappointing because you look at guys like Deron Bland that you expect them to play at a higher level, or Trayvon Diggs as well, Jordan. But despite all of that, I think, not to bring it back to the offense, but games like this is where you need your offense to be able to step it up because your defense was able to keep you in the game throughout the whole thing.
Yep. All right, that's a wrap. We'll be back tomorrow. We will start diving into the next one, Cowboys versus Carolina. All of a sudden, this game has become one where it's not a gimme. Carolina's looking really good the last couple weeks, even though they've lost. Played Philly tight, played Kansas City tight. So this is going to be an interesting game. We'll start breaking that down tomorrow. Till then, for Tommy Yarrish, Bryan Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!